Hello friends. Today I want to talk about some interesting stocks, and their respective technical analysis. As you would have seen in my previous video, I believe the market stance is weak overall right now, and hence there are not a lot of bright spots from a long analysis as such. But I believe there are a few stocks which are showing some interesting chart, and I want to talk about that. So let's get started. So I want to talk about Apple first, right? So Apple, as you've seen, went through a very long consolidation phase, right? And if you see, it is now broken, on the upside. It broke through its resistance and is probably now is on its first base, in my opinion. If you were to look at, if you were to look at the daily time frame, this is the kind of base it is forming, which is fairly interesting. And I believe if it could break this particular resistance area as such, somewhere here, and so it's kind of trying to reach there, it might show some kind of a retracement again, and might just come down to its 50-day moving average or something like that, and then start breaking on the upside. So I feel this is a fairly interesting stock that you might want to track. Now the next one I want to talk to you about is Anup Engineering. So Anup Engineering, again, as you can see, there's a fairly good long-term uptrend, and it's in it's in an advancing phase clearly. So as you can see here, it's again in a base formation, right? It's basically what I'm trying to say is, once it broke out of this consolidation, it went up like this, gave us consolidation, gave us like this. So for me, this is probably its third base. So it could see, another leg up, something like this. Now, right, the one issue that I see is that it's kind of, it's kind of in a fairly parabolic move, right? So we have to be a bit careful, on that side, but it's a very interesting stock to track as such. Okay. Next one. This is Ashoka Buildcon. Yeah, it's kind of in a uptrend, but not very convinced about this particular consolidation, or as such, because it's forming some kind of a topping phase. So I'll skip this, in fact. Balu Forge, again, fairly steep uptrend, and then has gone through a long consolidation phase. So we have to see if it breaks out of it, something like this. If it kind of were to break out of this particular downturn, and then it could give another leg up. So that's another stock. Yeah, now this one is interesting. It's Kaplan Point. Again, it has gone through a fairly good uptrend. I believe it's in a, it is forming a base here. So as you can see, it has kind of making a base. It's trying to break out. The volume is not that great right now from a breakout standpoint, right? So we have to see, but it could pretty well break out. Maybe give us this kind of a rise, and then maybe retrace back to its support and then go up again, right? So this could be an interesting entry point, at this phase. So keep a check for this. It's also floating above its all regular moving averages like 20, 50, 100, 200, 150. So this is an interesting stock to keep in perspective. CDSL again has been in a long term, not long term, sorry, has been enough, in some kind of a base formation. Um, I believe this could be an interesting one as well. So keep a watch out on if it were to break out of this particular resistance with a good volume, right? So let's keep that in perspective. Um, Eicher Motors and EAD Parry again are in a base formation. Nothing much to comment, but keep this in your watch list. Yeah, Genius Power. I feel this is interesting. Um, it's again fairly decent base formation, and we've seen some bit of an uptick in terms of the volumes as well. So if we were to draw a short-term resistance, it's kind of broke out of that. It's taking support, and it might just continue here. So this could be an interesting one to keep a track. Jubilant Pharma again an interesting setup. It's clearly in a base formation stage. It's trying to come back and break the resistance which it tried to break previously but was not successful. So this could have been a very decent entry point. I believe this one is a very, very good setup, and we should keep this in close watch. Kalyan Jewelers, again, as you can see, it's given a very good upswing like this. And now it's forming some kind of a base. So if you were to look at it a bit more closely, we can see some kind of a base formation here, and it is breaking out of its short-term resistance here. So I believe this could also be a very good one to look at. Keep this in perspective. OFS has been forming a base, and has been in a long consolidation. So let's see if we were to break out of this. Again, Shilpa Med is again one more interesting setup. Clearly, had an uptrend, is forming a base, and has tried to break out of this particular resistance. And is retraced back, is again in a very tight range here. So this one looks very interesting to me. Please keep this in your watch list. And if you were to see another bar which is with good volume, this could be an interesting stock for long consideration. Then Zertec, one of the stocks from the IT sector, which has been showing some resilience. If you had seen my previous video, I talked about how some sectors like IT, consumer durables, are showing some resilience, as such, and also banking to some extent, right? Zentech, again in a consolidation, trying to break out of its resistance, and it's in a tight range again after, trying to hit its all-time resistance, all-time high. So again, a very good stock to keep in perspective, right? So these are some interesting stocks. Again, I want to very clearly state that this is not in any way a recommendation to buy any of these stocks. I'm just using this to show you some technical analysis, on the long side. And I would request you to do your own study behind these stocks before you take any position. But I hope this analysis was useful and it gave you some perspective of some of the interesting charts that we see in the Indian market today. I hope to do this, again very soon and record our next set of, interesting setups for you. Thank you and have a great day.